Weinberger and Haley Barber were two that left. Jeff?
I'll be pretty brief, but I want to use the beginning of my time to just remind you that according to the city code, speakers on agenda items are supposed to have 3 minutes. It's in the city code, and I don't know why you arbitrarily change it for some people. Ray Cox got 2 minutes, and then at one point the guy who spoke after him got 5 minutes.
Well, because we have a policy for neighborhood presidents, they get extra time because they represent the president.
Right, and
we've been doing that for years.
People who speak to ordinances are supposed to get 3 minutes.
2 minutes.
It's in the city code. It says 3 minutes.
I understand, but we base it on the number of speakers.
Okay, so you arbitrarily make up your mind. Thank you.
Okay, is that your time?
The only change to the ordinance that would be meaningful would be rescinding all of the food sharing restrictions. The amendments that you're proposing, which I'm pretty confident you're going to pass tonight, are absolutely meaningless. Adding I forget what the term is. I've been here so long, my brain's barely working. Adding a few far-flung areas where there's restricted use and people have to jump through hoops to actually share food is meaningless. Down on State Road 84, who wants to share food down there? All of this has led to the city being sued 5 times over. 3 of the representatives of those lawsuits are in the room as we speak. It's going to wind up by the end of this process costing the city probably somewhere around $1 million. But I also want to talk about the fact that there are some people who want to comply with the ordinance, and when they have pursued answers to questions as to how they can comply with the ordinance, calling various city departments, they've had no response. So I tried to find out, well, how do you actually get a permit? Because one of the stipulations of your ordinance is that you have to...
I'll give you an extra minute.
I appreciate that. So one of the stipulations of the ordinance is that you actually have to get permission from the property owner to share food. The property owner in this case being the city of Fort Lauderdale. So I repeatedly tried contacting city officials to find out what is the permitting process. Never got a single call back. It's actually a comedy of errors because my questioning began with a man in the zoning department who passed it on to Chaz Adams.
So the owner
who passed it on.
Required to share food, allow it, right?
There is a process implied by your ordinance. It's written into the language of your ordinance.
With permission of the owner. So the owner's not required to do it.
But there should be a process.
Well, there is, and you get permission from the owner.
Okay, but there's no definition of that process in the ordinance, and when I've tried to address the question to city officials of what that process is, I've been completely stonewalled. So if you let me finish, I started with a man in the zoning department, and Eric Ingvall, who then passed the question on to Chaz Adams, who then passed the question on to Jerry Pryor, who then passed the question on to some other guy, and it wound up right back on the desk of Eric Ingvall in the zoning department, who still didn't return my calls. When the peanut butter and jelly project...
I gave you an extra minute, that's it.
Well, yeah, but you interrupted me half the time.
No, I just gave you an extra minute.
Okay, and when the peanut butter and jelly project tried to find out... When the peanut butter and jelly project tried to find out how to actually deploy some porta potties...
Motion to close public hearing?
They got no response.
So moved. Is there a second to close the public hearing? Moved and seconded.
Vice Mayor Rogers?
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts? Commissioner Trentalis?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Siler?
Yes, public hearing is now closed. Is there any